Long, long ago, in the land of Aloha, when kings, chiefs, and kahunas ruled, there was one known as Kehavale, who longed for a royal feather cloak. One day, Kehavale had his slave blow a mighty blast on the great conch shell to assemble his bird catchers. When they appeared, he gave them orders to go to the forest in search of mamu, iiwi, and o'o birds, that he desired a feather cloak that would be the envy of all who looked upon it. The men hastened to gather their traps and were soon on their way to the forest. There were many birds, but none could be trapped. After many hours, they became weary, and their hearts were heavy with fear as to what their chief would do if they returned empty-handed. They were about to turn their footsteps homeward when a strange sound filled the air. The men stopped to listen. It wasn't a bird, for no bird had such sweet notes. Soon from the depths of the forest walked a stranger wearing a cloak as green as the leaves of the forest, a loincloth of white tapa that glistened like little stars, and a helmet of many-colored feathers. From a stick he held to his lips came the strange music. "Are you a god or mortal?" asked the leader. The stranger laughed merrily. "No, my friend, I am Kaneohoku, the spirit of the forest. May I help you?" After an excited explanation of their predicament, the bird catchers led Kaneohoku to their chief, dancing and singing all the way. When the chief saw his men, he shouted in an angry voice, "Where are my birds?" The men trembled in fear and pointed at Kaneohoku. Without a word, Kaneohoku lifted the singing stick to his lips and began to play. The chief listened to the strange music. Soon his vicious scowl turned to a smile, and the chief and his men began to dance merrily. It was then that Kaneohoku spoke. "Great chief, I know of your desire for a feather cloak. I will produce the birds in exchange for your royal spear." After some hesitation, the chief consented. As Kaneohoku disappeared into the forest, the chief ordered his men to prepare the bird cages. Just as the sun was about to set, a sound like the gentle trade winds caressing the trees came from the forest. And above it all was the strange music of the singing stick. "He comes," whispered the men. Walking slowly down the valley came Kaneohoku with hundreds of birds hovering about him. When the last bird was safely in its cage, Kaneohoku approached the chief for the promised spear. But the selfish chief had no thought of giving up his spear and threatened to cast Kaneohoku into the pit of fire and roast him alive. Kaneohoku quickly raised his singing stick to his lips and began to play, slowly and softly at first. then faster and higher. This threw the chief and his men into an uncontrollable happy mood. They danced and sang until they dropped to the ground and fell asleep. Kaneohuku then freed the birds. Still playing his singing stick, he slowly walked back into the forest. Soon the stranger and his birds were gone forever. Should you at any time be walking through the forests of our Hawai'i and hear sweet music, look quickly about you, for it may be Kaneohuku, spirit of the forest, with his singing stick.